Main man here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. So this is the week of Mikey Garcia versus Adrien the Problem Broner, man. We're talking about Saturday the 29th at the Barclays Center. You know, at first, I must admit, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't fully on board with this fight. I understand, given name recognition, how a lot of people can get caught up in this thing. But I thought, with the weight differential, Adrien Broner, honestly, at this point, in my opinion, not really a true 140 fighter no more, should be fighting at welterweight. There are other names that could have been thrown at him, but he decided to bring up a fighter from 135 to face him. But we're going to move beyond that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to take the high road here and say, okay, well, this is a good fight. This is a decent fight. I know with the two names and the elite level that these two fighters fight at, we're just going to say, hey, this is a decent fight. Now, there are some, in my opinion, comments and questions kind of swirling around here, you know what I'm saying? And we're just going to start off with there. Who knows? Maybe by the end of this video, we'll probably get to a prediction. So we'll see. But the question that I have right now for Adrien the Problem Broner, knowing that he has such a problem with cutting weight, you know what I mean? Given that his lifestyle out the ring is so reckless and undisciplined, he has a problem with cutting weight. We've seen him lose titles on the scale multiple times. We've seen him say things like he's hit his brick wall. He's done all he could to lose the weight, and he just could not get out. What was that, 0.3 of a pound, you know what I'm saying, to lose his title right there on the scale. So we've seen Adrien Broner claim on multiple times that he could not get down to 140. So given that they have sent him off into the middle of nowhere to train, to get him away from all of the distractions, the question that emerges is this a weight loss camp, or are they actually dealing with strategy and stuff like that? That was one of the things that it was accused of my main man, Kell Brook. Kell Brook, he said on multiple occasions that he had problems on getting down to welterweight and he wasn't motivated enough to get there. And then he had fought Gennady Golovkin up at 160. So people thought when he fought Errol Spence, is this guy in training to lose just to lose weight? Or is he actually working on some sort of game plan? So that is the question that is emerging amongst Adrien the Problem Broner. A lot of people also will say that this is Adrien Broner's last chance, man. He's had multiple chances, honestly. I thought his career was a bit misguided, given that, they allowed him, given his popularity of his name and stuff like that, they allowed him to skip the 140-pound division and go up to welterweight. Tragic mistake, because we seen that Adrien Broner's body at the time was not ready for welterweight fighters, and we clearly seen that with Marcos Maidana. We clearly seen that by him being unable to finish Paulie Malignaggi. We saw it, even when in the Sean Porter fight, it wasn't at welterweight, but it was at a catchweight, I believe, of 144, 145 or something like that. And it's just still, even at that weight, Adrien Broner just did not look like his old self, you know what I mean? So, but this is Adrien Broner's, last chance, man. Like, this is everything that he's fought for at this point in his career, man. This is the fight. A lot of people have said in the past that this fight was Adrien Broner's going to be last chance, so this opportunity was his last. I remember when the Sean Porter fight came around, everybody was like, they're throwing Adrien Broner to the wolves, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not sure about that as of yet. Well, this is the one. Make no mistake about it. Make no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one. If Adrien Broner goes in there and looks bad, if he loses 11 out of 12 rounds, or if he go in there, just looking like he's just not into the fight, like, this is it. About billions, AB, all that shit is gone. Floyd Mayweather coming around, gone. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be people scheming to take Robert Easter from him. It's just going to go down a dark, dark road for Adrien Broner. So this, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last chance for Adrien, man. This is the last chance to prove that he belongs on this level, that he belongs this level, that he deserves this level of attention, that he deserves this level of prestige, if you will. This would be the fight to determine it all. Adrien has fought no threats at 140. You know what I mean? Ever since his, he backtracked and left from 147 and kind of went back down in weight, went back down to 140. There was a few fights that were at catch weights, but since he's been down at that 140 division, man, he fought really like no major elite level threats, you know. We got a lot of Carlos Molinas and Emmanuel Taylors and Khabib Verdivs and Ashley Theophanes, but we didn't get the Matisses and the Victor Postals and you know those, you know, say what you want about those fighters, Mauricio Herrera's, like those were the elite level fighters at 140. Terrence Crawford, yet Adrien Broner has fought none of these guys, you know what I'm saying? And even like in fights like with Adrian Granados, a lot of people would say that Adrien Broner struggled in that level of fight. So I think it's a stylistic type thing, you know, given that Adrian Granados fought with a certain style. But Adrien Broner ain't done nothing at 140, ladies and gentlemen. He inherited a world title when he beat Khabib Verdivs, and they basically bumped him up to the super championship position. You know what I mean? So it's like, he hasn't done much at 140, and that is very concerning to me when it comes to Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner also has a blueprint out there, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody knows the blueprint on what to do to beat Adrien Broner. That is never a good thing. Everybody and their mama knows. A 5-year-old baby can tell you, shit, if you put an aggressive pressure fighter in there with Adrien Broner, it gives him problems. This is the style that has beaten Adrien Broner many times before, that has came close to beating Adrien Broner in times in the past. So, you know, it's very concerning when everybody pretty much thinks they have you figured out, and they know if you're down in a fight, if you're behind on too many rounds, this is all you got to do to change the course of this fight. So it's going to be interesting, man. Adrien Broner can take a punch like no other, though he lost even in his defeats, like to Marcos Maidana, in which he was knocked down a couple times. Adrien Broner gets right back up. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Even in there with Sean Porter, though he did fight like a biatch, but Adrien Broner stayed on his freaking feet, and he took some hard blows in that fight, you know what I mean, from a certified welterweight. So Adrien Broner can definitely take a punch. In all his defeats, he's never been stopped. I got to give it to him, you know what I mean? Even for a small guy, when he went up to face Marcos Maidana, who could have easily fought at 154 at that time, he took those punches. He went down, but he took those punches very, very, you know, well, and got back up and finished that fight, man. So Adrien Broner really, really can take a punch. Now, Adrien Broner has always overpowered his opponents at the lower weights, ladies and gentlemen. That's how he basically came to prominence, and he beat a lot of the guys like DeMarco and things like that, because in Litzau, because he overpowered these guys. Not so much that he was overskilled or too much overmatched. Most of the times he outweighed his opponents, and he just clearly steamrolled them or laid his weight on them and just kept popping them. You know what I'm saying? That has been the key to Adrien Broner's victories at the lower weights. Now, when he got to welterweight, he could not fight in that manner, and he clearly could not overpower his opponents. Even at 140, he has not been able to overpower guys like he did at 130 and 135. You know what I mean? So that's very interesting to me right there, you know, and I don't know if Adrien Broner is going to be able to overpower Mikey Garcia, a guy with extremely, extremely good balance, you know what I mean? And he can also take a punch as well. Adrien Broner struggles, like we said before, with aggressive volume punches. That is just the blueprint that is known out there amongst Adrien Broner, and that is dangerous. Now, let's talk a little bit about Mikey Garcia. The question that really surrounds Mikey Garcia is, has he seen this level of speed and power? Now, Mikey Garcia has a couple good names on his resume, you know what I mean? They maybe not super stellar, but there's some decent names he got there, you know what I mean? The Roman Martinez fight being the most notable one, in my opinion. It would have been nice to see him get in there with my guy Gamboa, but we never got that fight. That's the one that Mikey kind of skipped out of boxing on, you know what I'm saying? But Mikey has never really seen this level of speed and power, you know, especially mainly the power. You know, even in his last fight when he fought the guy Dejan Zlatian, whatever his name was, man, like, that was Mikey Garcia's first fight back from his 2-year hiatus. And that fight took place at 140. Now, Mikey stopped the guy beautifully, you know what I mean? I mean, damn near knocked the guy out the freaking ring, you know what I'm saying? Mikey stopped the guy, but Zlatian, whatever the fuck his name was, he doesn't have nearly the power nor speed of Adrien Broner, you know? So I just wonder how Mikey would look at 140 with somebody that cracks just as good as he cracks. You know what I mean? Very curious to know that. My thing is, if Mikey Garcia becomes aggressive and becomes this volume puncher, the strategy and the style that we've known to defeat Adrien Broner, will this make Mikey Garcia reckless? Because Mikey has been more of a technician. He likes to break you down. He takes his time earlier on in fights to kind of get a feel for you and then just starts to work you down. You know what I mean? So the question will be, if Mikey seemingly jumps in there out of character because he thinks that this is the style that beats Adrien Broner, will it make him much more reckless? And Mikey does get touched a lot. Let's not forget when he was knocked down against Roman Martinez, that he got knocked down on the counter shot, going in for the right hand after the jab. He took a right hand and it sent him down. Some say he probably jumped in too fast. He put his face too much forward. He got a little reckless and he walked into a short right hand. It was just flash knockdown because it was a short right hand. But imagine if that right hand would have had some velocity on it, man. Real shit. Mikey Garcia, though, has superstar potential, man. The dude walks around like he's fucking Michael Knight or somebody, you know what I mean? He wears bangs and shit. Like, he looks a real slick type dude, you know what I'm saying? He has the Mexican fan base. He fights out of an area known to be heavily supportive of him. He has the family name, the family to go with it. You know, he's a superstar in the making. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Clean-cut guy. You don't see Mikey Garcia out here partying, this, that, and the third. Focused all the time, always in shape. You know, superstar in the making, man. Now that he's starting to cross over and fight the PBC guys, something that wasn't available to him earlier on in his career, this can be exactly the thing that Mikey Garcia needs to get over that superstar hump, because a lot of the big names fight over at the PBC banner. Now, Mikey has signaled in the past that he's not only willing to come back down to 135 to possibly chase a Jorge Linares or possibly a Vasil Lomachenko fight, but he's also willing to maybe even look at 140, a Terence Crawford fight, or maybe even possibly willing to go to 47 if the offer is something that he's possibly looking for, or if the name is big enough. So Mikey is a superstar in the making, man. You know what I'm saying? If he wins this fight, grant him superstar status, man. No shit. You know what I mean? But Mikey, since his hiatus and since his return to the ring, in my opinion, has not fought an elite level fighter either. Though this Zlatan fight, whatever, was for a title. It wasn't for, it was for more so alphabet title. He's been put in a very good position at 135. I believe he's the regular champion for the WBC or something like that. I don't know, but he's not, he hasn't fought that guy to make him the champion. And that's the name that he's been looking for. Hence is the reason we seen Mikey go back down to 135. Because I think he felt as though it would have been an easier road for him at 135 back to a title, and to get a quicker route to get a big respectable name. Because all of the champions at that time, he would have took any of them, with the exception of possibly Robert Easter, because Robert Easter's name is not nearly as big as Linares or Flanagan. So we'll see, man. But he hasn't fought anybody, to me, of that cloth, of that caliber, since his hiatus, man. There's a reason that Mikey left 140 and went back down to 35. Mainly for name recognition, but also that I don't know if he knows for sure inside of him that he could compete with the elite 140 guys, man. Terence Crawford, Postal, Matisse, Herrera, whatever, man. Like, these guys will all give Mikey Garcia problems, not only because they are higher weight, because they are of a higher weight and they're skilled. So we haven't seen Mikey jump out there. I've always criticized Mikey of not getting in there with enough slick fighters. I would have loved to seen him in there with much more slicker fighters, because I consider Mikey Garcia a pretty slick fighter himself, man. So let's talk about some of the pros and the cons of some of these dudes, man. Let's go cons first. For Adrien Broner, very, very slow starter. To me, sometimes a little too slow for my liking, you know what I mean? Especially given his size and possible potential. always starts off a lot of just way too slow, figuring the guy out. If he gets in there with the volume puncher early, they can really take advantage of stuff like that. Adrien Broner is a very slow starter. Adrien Broner freezes against volume and aggression. The most known fact about Adrien the Problem Broner, you know what I mean? Whenever you get someone stands in front of him, the worst thing that they can do is stand in front of Adrien Broner and not swing, because then you allow Adrien Broner to get off. But if you stand in front of Adrien Broner, get off first, throw in volume, throw aggressively, continue this thing throughout round by round, it eventually gets to Adrien Broner. He freezes in the moment. He overthinks things. And when he do this, he doesn't let his hands go. You know what I mean? Which brings me to my next point. Adrien Broner doesn't let his hands go against big threats. When he's in there against guys he feel like he can overpower, smaller fighters, he walks right over them. He'll throw a bunch of shots at them, you know, from up top, down bottom, check hooking, left and right, you know what I mean? He gets more comfortable, if you will, when he's in there with the guy he feels he can overpower. But once he gets in there with an elite threat, you don't see that. He balls up more. He doesn't nearly take as many chances and risks. And that has always been the number one concerning thing when it comes to Adrien the Problem Broner, man. He relies too much on his power and weight and less on skill. A lot of fans believe that Adrien Broner is actually very skilled if he becomes more disciplined, more focused, and he uses these skills properly. You know what I mean? A lot of people feel as though Adrien Broner has it in him. It's right there. It's just that the dude don't tap into it. At least a lot of people feel that way. So, you know, he relies lately, especially, the things that brought him to prominence, was his weight overpowering guy and overpowering guys, his weight and power. He relies much more on that than his skill level, man. And that's being on. And that just goes to show you, even with him swinging one punch and pot shotting so much, he clearly believes that he has the power to hurt you just by pot shotting, you know what I mean? So, but he does have power. We clearly seen him put Sean Porter on his ass in the 12th round. We seen him put Emmanuel Taylor on his ass in the 12th round. Though they got back up, Adrien Broner showed that he had the power in his hands to put these guys down. Adrien Broner's stamina to me has been concerning lately, man. I thought in the Ashley Theophane fight, Adrien Broner took a lot of time off in that fight, and it was actually Theophane, but if it was anybody else, they would have easily taken advantage of that. Also, I noticed him wheezing hard in the Granados fight as well. We know that Adrien Broner lives a bad lifestyle for a boxer outside of the ring, man, and he is getting older. So the more older you get and you think you're going to keep living that lifestyle, nah, man, you may not feel it right away, but when you get into a 12-round fight, your stamina will be just depleting a lot more faster than what it normally does. Adrien Broner keeps his feet extremely wide, man, which, in a lot of cases, bad defensively for Adrien Broner. He doesn't get in and out as nearly as much as we like to see him do. He leans back a lot at the waistline, keeping his legs extremely wide, not being able to get out of the way of a lot of punches, man. So that's concerning, and I would think at this point in Adrien Broner's career that he would have fixed or corrected that mistake, but clearly he didn't. And those are just some of the cons that I noticed from Adrien the Problem Broner. Now, as for Mikey Garcia, what does he not do so well? Well, in my opinion, Mikey Garcia is a slow starter as well. Mikey Garcia starts out very slow. We seen even in the Roman Martinez fight, he started off very slow, kind of measuring him with the jab a lot until he decided to take a chance with the right hand, in which he was countered, and it put him on his ass early. But Mikey Garcia, that's just what he does, man. He's a fucking technician. He's a guy that's going to look you up and down, want to see what you're bringing into this fight, and he will take a round or two, or maybe even three, to get to feel for you and feel you out, working behind the jab always and keeping you at bay always. Mikey loves, he's not an aggressive counter puncher. He's not an aggressive volume puncher, but he is a good counter puncher. Now, the thing is, when I first talked about this fight, I stated that it would be a hard fight to call because I didn't think either man possessed the kryptonite to really finish either man. Now, in Adrien Broner's case, I didn't think he was possibly slick enough, in which Mikey Garcia actually does good against volume aggressive fighters. And in Mikey Garcia's case, I just didn't think he was aggressive enough, nor he throws in volume enough to defeat, say, what Adrien Broner, his weak point, if you will. You know what I mean? So I just didn't think that Mikey had it in him, and I don't think he's naturally, or when he's in who he is in the ring or in character, he's not an aggressive volume guy. He's more of a technician, break you down type guy with good power. You know what I'm saying? I say that Adrien Broner relies on power and less skill. Well, Mikey relies on more skill and less power. The knockouts come because Mikey is just so greatly skilled, in which he sets his punches up so fucking well that the knockouts usually come, man. Let's see, Mikey Garcia, but those are just, he to me can have much more better head movement, but given that Mikey keeps a distance so well, you know what I mean, it's usually not a big problem. But when he gets in close, he does get touched, ladies and gentlemen, and that's mainly because his head movement is a bit stiff, but his defense is very good, and he uses his distance very, very well. So it's not usually a big problem, but against an elite, heavier fighter, that can be the difference, ladies and gentlemen. So those are just some of the things that I noticed that Mikey doesn't do as good, but he just does so many things good, where the list honestly isn't that long. Pros, what does each fighter do very, very well? Well, Adrien Broner, good counter shot. You know, he throws very, very good counter shots. He's always looking to catch opponents coming in after they throw a jab. He's always looking to throw a check hook or a check uppercut. And he's always hoping and looking to catch you coming in. He counters well. He waits very, very patiently for good counter shots. That's something I got to give Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner relies more on his quickness, not so much speed. There's a major, major difference there. He throws punches fast, but in rapid succession fast, no. But he gets that lead-off punch out very fast, you know what I'm saying? And that's something, and he can either, he can jump out fast, but he can't continuously move fast. So Adrien Broner has quickness, but just not, to me, overall great speed. Adrien Broner throws a hell of an inside uppercut, man. Whether it's upstairs or downstairs, he times it very well, and he throws it with a lot of velocity. He usually, I notice right before he throws it, he always throws it off his bootleg shoulder roll. You know what I'm saying? So when he usually goes into the shoulder roll and he's in close, he comes back with the uppercut. You know what I mean? And it does damage, ladies and gentlemen. That is something that Adrien Broner does very, very well. Adrien Broner is very good at intimidating opponents. You know, I'm not saying it's going to work with Mikey Garcia, but when he comes in the ring happy, dancing and doing his little goofy shit, father brushing his head and all his extra shit, it could be a bit intimidating because it looks as if you're not in this kid's head. You know what I mean? So, he does that. He sells the fight, but he also sells intimidation, in my opinion, very, very well. It's good to see Adrien Broner very focused for this camp. He did take himself away from the distractions because he knows so much is on the line here, man. That is just something that I'm just happy to see Adrien Broner do, because, he can't be in like fucking Ohio or even DC for that matter training for this fight, man, because it's just too much on the fucking line, man. As for Mikey Garcia, some of the things he does well, he keeps a good boxing distance the whole fucking fight. There's never really much throughout a fight that Mikey usually breaks that rule. He always keeps that reactionary gap very wide. He keeps you just in range for his jab, man. He can either counter with that right hand right over the top of your jab at the distance that he normally stands at, man. That is something that I think that nobody does better than Mikey Garcia. He maintains distance discipline, if you will, but at the perfect distance at all times. Mikey Garcia sets up his power shots like nobody I've seen, always working behind the jab, and his power shots are always so fucking accurate, whether they're upstairs or downstairs, man. And he's always at an angle, man. Mikey is just such a fundamentally sound fighter, man, that is fucking crazy, Joe. He counters very well, man. Counters very, very well. It's just not many things that Mikey doesn't do well. He makes great adjustments. The adjustment heard around the world. I keep going back to the Roman Martinez fight, which he got knocked down early in that fight because he started out so slow, working behind a jab, changed it, made an adjustment to throwing the right hand over top of the jab. Perfect adjustment, and ended up finishing the dude, man. And he does this in numerous fights. I've seen him adjust in so many fights. That's just something that he just does beautifully. And that's also a con to Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner, for some reason, lacks adjustment. The Adrien Broner you get in round 1, you'll get in round 12. The Adrien Broner that you got in Malinagi's fight, you'll get in this fight. This Adrien Broner from 135, you get today. Even in weight changes, Adrien Broner has not adjusted. So that's just something that Mikey Garcia does extremely well. He has a good jab. It sometimes can get a bit lazy, but he's always measuring or either looking to hit you with it and can frustrate the fuck out of you with his jab because he throws it from distance, man. You know what I mean? Mikey Garcia looked great his last time at 140. Though it wasn't against an elite fighter, it still was a hell of a performance off a 2-year hiatus, and he didn't look like he lost a fucking step, ladies and gentlemen. So he's always in shape. Once again, he's always in the gym. Even between fights and while his hiatus was ongoing, he was still sparring. He was still giving people quality sparring partners, being a quality sparring partner to a lot of other fighters in the Robbie Garcia's gym, man. It's just like, yo, I got to give it, man. He's a very, very disciplined dude, man. Real talk. And like I said before, he relies more so on skill and waits for the knockout to come instead of forcing it or trying to force his weight or power on opponents. He just sticks to the game plan and the knockout fucking comes here, ladies and gentlemen. So those are some of the pros for Mikey Garcia. Keys to victory for either fighter. We're freestyling at this point. Adrien Broner, first off, he needs to put his weight on Mikey Garcia, man. He needs to really put his weight on Mikey Garcia. What Adrien Broner likes to do, when you're coming in, he'll throw that check hook. And if he misses the check hook and gets you to duck under it, he then leans on top of you, puts weight on you. Well, he should be doing that a lot against Mikey Garcia because that can be a major difference. This is something that Mikey has not seen yet. A much, much, much more heavier fighter. How will he adjust to this weight over 12 rounds? Like I said, Adrien Broner should go for the check hook and go for the check hook often. Mikey likes to keep his jab out there a lot to measure you, and though he does it from distance, Adrien Broner, once he ducks that jab, take a step in, pow, check hook all day, or catch Mikey coming in, pow, check hook. That should be the number one fucking punch outside of the jab that Adrien Broner, in my opinion, should be doing. Make Mikey reach. Mikey loves to fight at distance, and and like I said before, he's so disciplined where he maintains that distance. Adrien Broner needs to make Mikey Garcia overreach. Take a step back, make Mikey overreach, and hit him with that right hand counter shot, man. Mikey loves to keep the distance. All it takes is a half a step back to make him lunge in a little bit more, and pow, all day, straight in the fucking kisser, man. Real talk, man. And body work, something that a lot of opponents tend to forget to do against Mikey, mainly because he keeps his distance and catches you coming in, is the body work, man. I would love to see Adrien Broner, who throws a fantastic uppercut on the inside, to go to Mikey Garcia's body, see how he would not only take the weight leaning on him, but body shots downstairs, depleting the stamina and energy of Mikey Garcia. I believe that if Adrien Broner follows those keys to victory, he will win. As for Mikey Garcia, first and foremost, stay off of the ropes. Keep the fight in the middle of the ring. Keep Adrien Broner busy. Keep him active. Keep him moving. Keep him guessing. But stay off the ropes. Do not simplify yourself by keeping yourself on the ropes, and Adrien Broner knows exactly what the fuck you're going to do. Keep your distance, man. Mikey Garcia, do what you do well, and don't drive away from that shit now. Keep your distance. Make Adrien Broner walk into you. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do pop, jab all day, pop, jab all day, Mikey Garcia cannot stand in front of Adrien Broner at no point in this fight and not swing. You know what I mean? And if you do, you better keep a safe enough distance to know and see Adrien Broner coming in from a mile away. Keep AB thinking. Give him different looks and give him different angles. Don't competitively and get repetitive and do the same thing over and over again, and so he can see it coming. Change it up a little bit behind volume punching, and I'm telling you, it will just confuse Adrien Broner all to shit. Come from different angles. Use different stances. Feint a lot. You know what I mean? Keep him fucking guessing. Keep him busy. That is the key. And most importantly, for Mikey Garcia, get off first. You know what I mean? Get off first. Constantly get off first and get off in numbers. Not one shot, not two shots, 3 or 4 shots if you can, upstairs and downstairs. Consistently. You know what I'm saying? Throw even a dirty punch or two in there. It throws Adrien Broner off of his game. Get him bitching to the refs and throw him off his game. You know what I'm saying? I believe that if Mikey Garcia follows these keys to victory, he will be victorious, ladies and gentlemen. And now, for the final prediction of this fight. Let's toss all papers to the side here. I'm going to rock, drum roll, please. I'm going to say that the winner of this fight, I repeat, the winner of this fight, who will go on and remain a superstar, if not become a bigger star, the winner of this fight, in my opinion, will be Adrien the Problem Broner. Reason being, ladies and gentlemen, the man has everything on the line. I repeat, everything is on the line. You never doubt too many men that's in a position like that, ladies and gentlemen. On top of that, I do believe that the weight thing will be a much bigger factor than a lot of people give props for, because I think if Adrien Broner is leaning on Mikey Garcia with body work, hard inside shots, something that Mikey has never felt before, there ain't nothing that Mikey can bring that Adrien has not felt before at one time or two during his career. But there are things that Adrien Broner can bring that Mikey has not felt in a fight ever, and we don't know how Mikey will react. Sure, we know he's a disciplined fighter, but I just think these things fucking matter, ladies and gentlemen. These things matter bigly. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. Mikey Garcia has a hell of a chance of winning this fight with the weight cut, and given that Adrien Broner is, you know, he stylistically, how he doesn't let his hands go, and not to mention that Mikey Garcia is with the trainer who basically laid the blueprint on how to beat Adrien Broner with Robert Garcia. He has a hell of a chance. I give it about, to me, I'd say it's about a 55-45 chance for Adrien the Problem Broner. Adrien Broner is coming to this fight, ladies and gentlemen, as the underdog, as in the betting odds. So a lot of you out there really feel like Mikey Garcia will win this fight, and I ain't mad at you if you feel that way. Like I said, I give it about a 55-45 chance for Adrien Broner. I do believe that the weight will be the X factor. But however, there is also a chance that the weight can be his undoing. Because if Mikey takes Adrien into the deep waters, you know what I'm saying? That's where things will be a bit interesting. And Adrien, if he cannot hang with Mikey in the deep waters, that will be a problem. But I do believe that he can wear Mikey down. And I don't think that Mikey will be nearly the freshest fighter that we've normally seen of him throughout the fight. If Adrien is putting weight on him, you know, pinning him down, constantly putting his head down, getting a little dirty with it, you know what I mean? A lot of inside shots to the body. If he can get close to Mikey, work him down to the inside, these are the things that will drop Mikey's hands, will just bring his stamina rate down dramatically. And I really believe that with all on the line and a determined, focused Adrien Broner, this is what we possibly should or would get, you know. Now, I'm not going to use that whole Adrien Broner's undefeated 140 and under type shit, because he went up in weight. And the big factor is now he's coming back down in weight. That's one of the many, many lessons in boxing that I learned when we were talking about my main man, Kell Brook, and Earl the Truth Spence, how when Brook cut that weight, it turned him into a different fighter, in my opinion. So, and I understand how people are coming from with that, but I just believe with Adrien Broner so determined, you know what I mean, he will be outweighing Mikey Garcia. I just think that can be the X factor. But if this fight gets too deep in the deep waters, ladies and gentlemen, we can see a different fight. So I'm giving Adrien Broner a 55-45 chance, and that is barely, ladies. I mean, barely. I think he barely beats Mikey, but I think he can do it. Will he stop Mikey? I think he takes over more so in the middle rounds, the middle to maybe late rounds, you know what I mean? But I think that's where Adrien Broner will shine the most, you know what I mean? Real talk. So we'll see, man. I could be wrong here because this is Adrien Broner, and we just got to hope that the right Broner shows up. But, yo, there's a lot on the fucking line here, y'all. I just can't see how a man in Adrien Broner position just is not going to push himself to the limit for this fight. And when you have that with a smaller guy, well, I just got to roll with the bigger guy, especially Adrien Broner, more experienced, proven champion for that higher weights, felt harder power. I'm going to roll with Adrien Broner. Real talk. So if you rolling with Mikey, I ain't mad at you. I totally understand. The guy has a lot of good shit he brings to the table, but just certain physical dynamics, I don't think he'll be able to overcome. Real talk. So to the next video, Main Man, Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe. Twitter, Made Man 511. Facebook, Main Man, Made Man. Boxing Forum. Google Plus, Main Man, Made Man. I seen the meme out by Mikey Garcia with the Mickey Mouse and the Donkey Kong trying to interject a racial element into this thing, man. It is what it is, yo. Y'all motherfuckers get all riled up over that dumb shit. You know, they know it. They seen it working Mayweather McGregor amongst other fights, Kovalev Ward, whatever. They seen how people supported it, and well, people didn't buy the Kovalev Ward fight, but still there was a lot of fanfare about it. And who knows, maybe that's the reason they're doing it. But I really don't, I've never taken Mikey Garcia to be any sort of racist whatsoever. So, you know, but whatever. I could be wrong, but whatever the fuck. So to the next video. Peace out.